I've been cleaning up around this place for nearly 30 years, and I wouldn't trade my time inside this dome for anything. I've seen it all. Conventions, monster trucks, the Stones and the Pope, plus all 6 Super Bowls played here. But nothing compares to the Final Fours. Been 3 of them here so far. 3 of the greatest ever.
It's going right down to the wire. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan, Michael Jordan. Indiana can win it. And they go man to man. Smart takes the shot. Keith Smart is the hero. Michigan has no timeouts left. He walked in, the referee missed it. He called a timeout. Michigan doesn't have any.
They called it March Madness. Really lived up to its name this year.
Here it goes for the win. And we go to overtime.
Left standing, 2 teams whose coaches have come this far before, but never tasted the prize. Yeah, I've been blessed with the greatest job in the world. Seen history being made. Suspect I'll be witnessing a little more of it tonight.
New Orleans, where rolling on the river is a way of life, and the Southern hospitality is warm. On Bourbon Street, the good times never end. But tonight, those local landmarks take a backseat to the Louisiana Superdome. All the excitement of Mardi Gras is in the air, with revelers from upstate New York and America's heartland dressed up for the ball. And the guests of honor, the Syracuse Orangemen and the Kansas Jayhawks. All the ingredients are in place as we cook up a big night in the Big Easy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Clark Kellogg and Michigan State head basketball coach Tom Izzo. Welcome to Championship Night as CBS Sports proudly broadcasts its 22nd consecutive NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. At the end of the evening, this coveted trophy will be presented to either Syracuse or Kansas. Our tip time is 9:21 Eastern Time. Clark and Coach, it's an emotional night for both teams. Let's look at the stars who are expected to carry each of these teams. First of all, for Syracuse.
When you start with the Orangemen, you start with the headband wearing, always smiling, Carmelo Anthony. He has a unique blend of exceptional talent and maturity and moxie beyond his years. Coach, who do we look at for Kansas?
Well, you still got to look at Nick Collison. He is the guy that has carried them for 4 years. He's got experience. He's a great rebounder. He can score inside, and he ignites that fast break.
These are common names by now across the country. And so, here's a look at the 2003 Final Four bracket from the NCAA and its corporate champions, and how we arrived at our Final 2. On Saturday, Kansas, the 2nd seed out of the West, crushed Marquette, and then Syracuse, the 3 seed from the East, defeated top seed Texas. And as we look at these teams, Coach, we talk about the hallmarks, the trademarks of each, and for Jim Boeheim and Syracuse, it's that dreaded 2-3 zone.
Well, the 2-3 zone, nobody wants to face it, and yet I think there's some ways that people can hurt it. As you can see here, they do a great job of corralling the ball, so teams try to screen it. Yet, in screening it, they play you so that they force you to go east and west a lot. They don't let you go north and south. If you can penetrate it, the middle is open, the baseline's open a little bit. But as you see, as they penetrate, they collapse on you real big. They're 7-1 inside with fourth, and they're tough to beat.
For Kansas, it's the transition game, back and forth.
They play the game full throttle, and you can't play the zone defense effectively if you don't get back. And Kansas tries to get the first good shot available. They do it a number of ways. Off your misses, they throw the deep outlet passes near half court, and they're often running to the other end. Even off your makes, they'll run. But good rebounding position here. Collison, the nice outlet pass, and there goes Kirk Heinrich. So experience on the Kansas side. How about the youth of Syracuse? Carmelo Anthony, clearly the marquee name, but he's not alone. Hakeem Ward, maybe the most improved player in the country this year. Long and lean as well as lethal. And Jerry McNamara, fearless. He has a knack for making big shots when they need them.
Coach, where they're young, Kansas has experience.
For the last 4 years, seniors have won big games in the national championship, and these two guys are something special. Collison inside, and Heinrich on the perimeter. They can beat you both ways. They got lethal weapons on both sides.
They are special, as are the head coaches, and we will hear from tonight's two head coaches when Prelude to a Championship continues live from New Orleans in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents Prelude to a Championship, sponsored by Coca-Cola and by Singular Wireless.
Welcome back to championship night at the Superdome. Jim Boeheim of Syracuse and Roy Williams of Kansas have been called the best two coaches never to have won a national title. One of them will do so tonight. A short time ago, Armin Katayan caught up with Coach Boeheim.
Coach, is there something you've learned in the two previous championship games that you could pass on to your young team tonight that might help them handle this situation?
Yeah, it doesn't feel good when you lose. But, no, I don't know. I think we've prepared as well as we can. We've had a great season of preparation, and we know we have to play a great Kansas team, and we're just going to give it everything we have, and I hope that's enough.
Jim, I know you've said a win here is not a validation for you, but your sense of what it would mean to you and the program.
Well, it's always great for a program. It's great for a coach. I think it's the greatest thing is for the fans and the players. They're the ones that really put it all on the line every day, and that's who you'd love to see win this thing.
Coach, thank you. Well, let's go now to Bonnie Bernstein, who's with Kansas coach Roy Williams.
Roy, the last time you were in a championship game in this building, you were an assistant for North Carolina in 1982, and you won it all. How does the emotion compare, though, when you're the guy in charge?
Wow, it's a lot different, I can tell you that. That time I just had all the emotions about wanting to win, so people would stop talking about Coach Smith not winning the big one, and that was a feeling of relief. And right now, you know, it's almost a feeling of sense of loss that after the end of this game, I know I'm not going to coach Nick and Kirk anymore, so that part's bad. But there's a lot. I slept a lot better in '82, I can tell you that. Didn't have quite as many distractions as I have now.
Over the last 2 weeks or so, we've had conversations, and you keep bringing up your affection for Collison and for Heinrich. What are you going to say to them before their final games as Jayhawks?
Well, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to try to say the same things I've said to them all along, and I'm not going to look at them very much. I think it'll be easier to do it if I do it that way.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Bonnie and Armin, thank you. A few moments ago, we talked about the guys who day in and day out star for these two teams. What about the ones who may pop up as surprises, the X factors? Let's start with Syracuse.
Well, everybody knows Carmelo's going to get his. It's whether they can stop Hakeem Warwick. He is a guy that might be the best athlete on the floor. He can score as he did against Texas the first 6 points of the game. He can block shots, and he's a very, very good rebounder. I think he is a key.
For Kansas, I think it's Jeff Graves. He's a big guy that can help Collison on the board. He also can be a presence defensively, and he's got to be effective scoring the ball when he gets chances.
All right, guys, we are inching ever closer. Prelude to a championship will continue here on CBS in just a moment.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. CBS Sports presents Prelude to a Championship, sponsored by Pontiac and by Expedia.com.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome here in New Orleans, and right now it is my pleasure to introduce my CBS Sports colleagues who will call tonight's national championship game, Jim Nantz and Billy Packer. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you so much, Greg. We've been fortunate enough to be at a few of these, Billy, and there is a special electricity, it seems, tonight.
I think because of the great coaches that are involved in this championship and the two great programs from great leagues, we've got a little special atmosphere here tonight.
No question. Big-time programs going for the championship. Let's talk first about the Syracuse Orangemen.
Well, we watched this young man the other night, Carmelo Anthony. Look at him back off the defender. He is so smooth no matter where he's playing on the floor. And here is the ballet dancer, Hakeem Warwick. Beautiful step-in move. He may be listed at 6'8", but he plays like a 7-footer that can really move. And then I think one of the things that you want to count on when you're playing Syracuse is to see one of the feistiest backcourt performances come along in a long time. Gary McNamara is incredible in regard to what he can do on both the offensive and the defensive end. And there he is hitting his freshman teammate, Carmelo Anthony.
All right, Billy, they'll be trying to slow down Kansas with that vaunted Syracuse 2-3.
Without question, nobody in the country plays the 2-3 more consistently or any better than Syracuse. And here you can see why. The spacing of the defense. They just don't give you many openings. And they flow with the basketball. Just when you think you have a lane, all of a sudden you run into another man. Syracuse plays it so well.
The roar is the anticipation of the rival of the Kansas Jayhawks, and here they come. On Saturday, Langford gave them such a huge lift.
One of the great drivers that we've seen in college basketball in a long time. And when you think about Kansas, you've got to think about the two seniors. Inside for Collison, outside for Heinrich. Two players that have played together for 4 years, know each other so well, and have provided great leadership for Kansas. Now, the unknown factor to me in this game is right here. Jeff Graves. Sometimes he plays like an all-conference performer. Sometimes he's in foul trouble. Kansas can ill afford that tonight.
All right, Billy, you got the two seniors and the two freshmen, the two coaches who so desperately want the titles, coming up shortly.
Hitler, the Rise of Evil, coming this May to CBS.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's National Championship game is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, Anger Management, Singular Wireless, and by Budweiser.
Recently, all the winners of the Car and Driver Best Pickup Award got together for a little reunion.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Louisiana Superdome for tonight's championship game between the Syracuse Orangemen and the Kansas Jayhawks. Let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for Syracuse, a 6'8" sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, number 1, Hakeem Warwick. At forward for Kansas, a 6'4" sophomore from Fort Worth, Texas, number 5, Keith Langford. At forward for Syracuse, a 6'8" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland, number 15, Carmelo Anthony. At forward for Kansas, a 6'9" senior from Iowa Falls, Iowa, number 4, Nick Collison. At center for Syracuse, a 7-foot sophomore from East Wheaton Bush, New York, number 51, Craig Forth. At center for Kansas, a 6'9" junior from Lee Summit, Missouri, number 42, Jeff Graves. At guard for Syracuse, a 6'2" freshman from Scranton, Pennsylvania, number 3, Jerry McNamara. At guard for Kansas, a 6'3" senior from Sioux City, Iowa, number 10, Kurt Heinrich. At guard for Syracuse, a 6'6" senior from Bloomington, Indiana, number 13, Brett Duaney. And at guard for Kansas, a 6'1" sophomore from Portland, Oregon, number 11, Aaron Biles. And introducing the head coaches for Syracuse, Jim Boeheim. And for Kansas, Roy Williams.
They are good friends, these two, and now they're brawling in New Orleans for the national championship. And Billy, it's time for your championship analysis.
Well, Jim, I've never been involved in a championship game with the contrast that we see in this one. Seniors versus freshmen inside, Collison against Anthony. It'll be interesting to see who gets the upper hand there. And then all of a sudden, senior and freshman on the outside. We're talking about Heinrich and McNamara. Both can play extremely well. Let's see whether the upper hand goes to senior or freshman. Now, the Jayhawks streakers, and what I'm talking about here is the finest fast-breaking team in college basketball. That's what the Jayhawks are. Can they get those advantages on the break as they have throughout this tournament? On the other side, you have the orange blanket, and I'm talking about a Syracuse defense that plays a 2-3 zone, holds opponents to 38%. But Kansas has had 3 halves where they've shot over 60. What's going to give?
All right, let's check in with our reporters. Billy, before the tip, here's Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Jim, at 8 o'clock this morning, Roy Williams, his wife, former Kansas athletic director Bob Frederick, and a couple other friends took a stroll down the Mississippi, spit in the river for good luck, just that very same Roy Williams hoping that perhaps superstition will help end that long search for his first national title. Armin?
Thanks, Bonnie. You know, both Jerry Macna and Carmelo Anthony said they had a very relaxing day. No change in their pregame routine, but both are acutely aware of what this game could mean for their head coach. Jerry McNamara said, "I will be nervous, Jim, right until this moment when we start the game." Back.
The Singular Wireless fan poll, which was the most memorable championship game in New Orleans. Singular Wireless users send vote to 171 or log on to cbssportsline.com/singular. Stay tuned. Results during Singular at the half. James Worthy, pictures from the Pontiac Performance Cam. And what a performance it has been by Syracuse on both ends of the floor. And how do you find an open room when you're talking about wingspans like this?
Well, Jim, a good recruiter will go back to the head coach and say, I'm not going to tell you how tall he is. I'm going to tell you how long he is. Warwick is one of those guys that is long.
Timeout called by Syracuse as McNamara was doubled up in the backcourt. He's got the stroke going again.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's National Championship game is sponsored by the Mazda 6, Intel Centrino Mobile Technology, UPS, and by Gatorade.